Good evening, Rabbi. In the Shulchan Aruch Choshen Mishpat teaches you over there something very important about the laws of business. That when a person has a worker, he has somebody working for him, whatever type of worker it may be, doesn't matter what he does for him, whatever it is, whether it's in his house or in his business, the Torah tells you one thing about that, that you have to pay him the salary right away when he finishes his job. So what does that mean? If a person is working in the daytime, and he finished at the end of the day, so the employer has to pay him by the end of that night. He has to already pay him his salary, right? But that's called lo yalin, right? Lo talin scharo. Don't make his wages late by being all night. So once the person already didn't give him the wages, and already Amud HaShachar came up, the dawn already came up, he already transgressed this pasuk, this prohibition. So you have to be, right, also it says Be'yomo, right? Be'yomo yishalem lo. What does that mean? You got to pay him during the day when he did the job. So therefore the rule is, right, that if a person doesn't do that, he transgresses a negative prohibition, Bal talin, lo talin, and also Be'yomo titen lo. One positive, one negative. Can you imagine? Yeah. So you see from there, right, how important it is that a person give the wages on time according to the Torah. There are some issues that are interesting regarding this, right? That doesn't always apply, by the way, this whole thing. What does that mean? That, for instance, sometimes a person, it can be a little bit different also. Let's say a person was working in the daytime, right? So he finished a job before the night came. So he finished in the daytime. So now, says the Shulchan Aruch, when does he have to pay him? Let's say he finished, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, right? And the day ends at 8:30, right? Shkiyah. It's about 8:30 now, right? Whatever it is. So when do you got to pay him? He finished the job at 5 o'clock. He worked 9 to 5, right? So when do you have to pay him? Until the morning? You have all night? Or when?
Until 5 o'clock.
Why 5 o'clock? No, he finished at 5 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
So how much time do you have?
1 hour.
Okay. You're guessing. Don't guess, right? That's not a good thing to do. You have to know what you're saying. Don't just say things out of your mind. So what's the halacha then, man? So there it says the Shulchan Aruch, he's got to pay him not until the next morning, all night. He doesn't have all night. So what time does he have? He has until the end of the day. Right? What does that mean? 8 o'clock, 8:30 is Shkiyah, right? So you have another quarter of an hour until Tzit Kochavim, 20 minutes. So by 8:45, 8:50, he has to pay him already. What's the reason? Because he finished already before the day was over. So since he finished before the day was over, but Be'yomo iten lo, I got to give him that day already. He didn't finish at night. He finished in the daytime. Understand? So it's a little bit different. So depending on when he finishes, you have to, accordingly to that, right? You have to give the wages to that person. Otherwise, he transgresses. There are, by the way, a lot of rules about this, a lot of things, interesting things that we have to say. Maybe we'll do a couple of classes on this, so we can cover all the issues that surround this. But something interesting also, which is like this, right? So then how do we do today, right? Today, most of the bosses give you like a weekly, a monthly check, whatever, So we don't do it like that today. So how do we get around the problem? That's the question. You know what I mean? This is the question. Maybe we're transgressing, by not paying the workers on time.
Let's say you work, every week I pay you.
Oh.
Every year it's okay.
I agree with you 100% what you're saying, So 100% what he's saying, 100%. What does that mean? That you have to make an arrangement beforehand, you know what I mean? You have to notify the guy, the worker. I'm not going to be paying you every day. You know that, right? It's not going to be like that. I'll be paying you once a month. Do you agree to that? You agree. So once he agrees, he was mevater, right? Mevater. He gave up on that. So since he agreed to it, no problem. We got no problem, right? This is the way we do it today. But the problem is like this, that sometimes if a person doesn't make this arrangement, he doesn't tell the worker that he's doing it this way, he's going to have a problem. You know what I mean? He didn't tell him. So then, what makes you think that? What makes you think that he expects you to pay him once a month? You didn't tell him that. So if you didn't tell him, the din Torah comes, it takes effect. You know what I mean? It's from the Torah, this thing, you know? There is such a thing, by the way, like this in Dinei Mamanot, when it comes to money matters, there's a halacha like this, that minhag ha'makom, minhag ha'medina, becomes the halacha when it comes to money issues. So what's the minhag of this country, right? What, they pay monthly or they pay daily?
Weekly.
Right? Monthly usually, right? Or daily, weekly, whatever it is, right? Nobody pays you daily over here. It's too much of a hassle, right? Too much of a headache. You got too many things going, right? Writing too many checks, right? You got too many, right? Too much cheshbonot, all kinds of calculations you got to do. It's too much of a hassle. Who does that, right? Nobody does that. So maybe we can say like this, even though he didn't tell him that he's going to pay him on a monthly basis or weekly basis, but the fact that the minhag al-medina is like this, that already is enough, to prevent me from transgressing the Torah. Is that true? This is the question I ask you. My chavruta asked me this question. This is your brother. But, he's not looking at me, but your brother asked me this question. Your brother is my chavruta, right? So we learn Choshen Mishpat together, So even though he lives in 5 towns, we do it on Zoom. We do it on the phone, basically. We don't need Zoom. He doesn't want to look at me. I'm not that good looking, so we just do it on the phone. So right, here's the thing, right? That this one, Alavai. So this is the thing, right? That he says, that maybe the minhag is going to take over. Like it says in the laws of Mamonot, and Dinei Mamonot, the minhag is the main thing. So the truth is, I told him, I said, my friend, I said, right? I told him, I said, I don't think so. I don't think the minhag is going to take over with it. Even though in Dinei Mamonot sometimes we say that, here we don't say it. What's the reason why? So my personal opinion was like this. I told him, I said, the reason the minhag will not take over is because this din is from the Torah. It's written in the Torah. This is not something that the Rabbanan. It's not from the rabbis. If it's from the rabbis, so the rabbis said, that when it comes to minhag hamakom, sometimes the minhag hamakom, many times, is going to be even stronger than the words of the rabbis. This is the way they made the halachot of Dinei Mamonot, of the money matters, of financial issues. Minhag HaMedina takes over. But when it comes to something which is from the Torah, how can a minhag come, right, and uproot the Torah? Hashem Yirachem. Hashem Baruch Hu allows you to do that, to take minhagim and uproot the Torah. No such a thing like that. Okay? So this is the reason why I told him. I said it cannot be, that the minhag will come and uproot this halakha, because this halakha is from the Torah. It's not from the rabbis. In the end, by the way, he also spoke to some other rabbi, who's giving classes on this issue. Happens to be, right? That he heard him, and he also agreed with what I said, pretty much, with this rabbi. That the minhag here does not come and uproot the din Torah. That doesn't happen now. So therefore, since that's the case, if minhag doesn't come and uproot the Torah, you have to make sure you make this condition. You don't make it tonight in the beginning. Sign a contract or have a verbal agreement. Whatever, verbal understanding, right? So he knows that this is the way you're going to pay him, monthly, weekly, whatever it is, right? Or per job, per whatever, it's some kind of job that he does, something like that, right? Okay, very good. Another interesting thing is like this, that sometimes a person doesn't transgress his halakha because the situation that he's in doesn't, is a little bit different. So what does that mean? We have this rule, right, in halakha, we have in Torah, anus rachamana patre. You know what that means? What does that mean? Anus rachamana patre.
Whoever has no choice.
First, yeah.
He's patur.
Right, so here also the same thing, right, exactly. So here also the same thing, that since he's anus, what does it mean anus over here? He doesn't have money, right? The guy's broke, He doesn't have cash. What can you do, right? Got no cash. What happened? You ran out of money, and I wasn't expecting to, but now all of a sudden, my money's depleted. So since he doesn't have any cash, you know what I mean? And the time comes for him to pay, so the truth is, that in a case like that, says the Shulchan Aruch, he doesn't transgress his halakha. Because he's anus, he doesn't have a chance to pay him. What can you do? Right? This is the So therefore, right, the rule is that in a case like that, he doesn't transgress. So what's going to be? What's going to be is that once he gets the money, he has to pay him whenever the money comes. Whenever your cash flow starts to go again, and you've got the money to pay him, now pay him. But the question is like this, right? Now that he got the money, let's say he got the money like a week later, right? He wasn't able to pay him for a while. A week later, he got some paycheck from somewhere, he got some, whatever, something. Somebody threw him a doggy bone, right? Something, he got the money. So now a week later, he's got the money. So now the question is like this, right? Once he gets the money, if he doesn't give it to him, let's say right away, does he transgress? Lotalin, right? Baltalin? Or Beyomot Iteno? Does he transgress these psukim?
Yes, maybe.
So the answer that says Shulchan Aruch, no. What's the reason? Why? Because that time, Biyomo, the day that they work, is already gone, right? That's Avidah. It doesn't exist anymore, you know what I mean? So since that condition already passed, it doesn't exist anymore, so therefore, Biyomo Titerno doesn't apply anymore in this case. Or Lotalin. It's already too late for that. So then, maybe he's patur, you shouldn't give him at all, right? If he's patur, he doesn't have to give him nothing? What's that about, right? So the rabbis say, here, it's just a matter of, you have a debt to the guy, like you owe him money now. So you got to pay him as a debt, to be an honest person, right? You owe him money. So what does that mean? It's like more like divrei Kabbalah, divrei Rabbanan, it's like from the rabbis now. It's not so strong from the Torah like this. Once the time already passed. So the rule is that now you got to pay him, but it's only the Rabbanan. Whatever, you still have to pay him, right? Doesn't make any difference. The Rabbanan, they're right there. But the nafkamina is, the practical difference is like this, that you're not transgressing these two prohibitions from the Torah anymore. Once that time already passed. So this is the way it works, when it comes to wages. And by the way, this thing also you should know, it applies not only in this particular case, what we just said. It applies also all the namanot, all money matters. So what do I mean to say? Anus rachamana pater, right? If a person has a debt to somebody, he owes him money, right? And he doesn't have money to pay him. So what's the rule? Can we put him in jail? Call the police? No,
No, you force him to give.
Okay, let's put you in jail. You didn't want to pay me. You don't have money. Let's put you in jail. We'll prosecute you. You want to say something? I'm sorry. Maybe we should do like that. Like they do over here in America. Sometimes when you don't have money to pay, they'll put you in jail.
Force him to pay.
They'll say, he doesn't have. What can you force, right? What are you gonna do? Doesn't have any money, right? So the rule is, the truth is, according to halakha, though, it's not like that. So what does that mean? That when a person owes anybody money for any reason, right? Whether he borrowed from him money, or it's wages, or whatever it may be, right? All kinds of things like this. The rule is that if he doesn't have, he's patur. What does it mean he's patur? Well, doesn't have to pay him at all? No, he has to pay him. But when he gets the money, he has to pay him. That's what it is, right? Same thing over there. So until then, we wait, Sablanut, have patience, like, what can you do, Wait a week or two, wait 1 month, and maybe you have to wait till 10 years, I don't know. Until he gets the money, whatever it is, right? You can't really do anything to him. There's nothing you can do.
What if he doesn't pay? If he doesn't pay or he dies or something happens?
So what can you do? He didn't pay, right? So then you can take maybe from his orphans, right? From the people who inherited his money. So if there's any money there, you can take. You know what I mean? But when he's alive, what are you going to do to him? There's nothing you can do, right? So the truth is, that the question is like this. There's a famous question in halakha regarding this dine mamonot, right? The question is, when it comes to, let's say somebody owes you some money, right? He doesn't want to pay you for some reason, but you don't know if he has money, you're not really sure what's going on. You don't know what it is, right? So, are you allowed to go to his house, and take something, steal something from him? To get your debt back?
Yes. 100%.
This is the question, right?
100%.
Can you steal from the thief? He's stealing from you, and you're stealing from him. You're stealing back your money. This is the question, right? Are you allowed to do that? So the answer is, the truth is, it's a machloket, in the poskim. Yeah, there's a machloket about this. In the Gemara, yes, it's true. Are you allowed to take back your money by stealing from him or not? So the halakha is, can you please be patient? What's going on? You can't calm down. Okay, God bless you. So, what's the halakha, Bemet? The halakha says, that you're allowed to. If that person owes you money, you can go to his house, go to his yard, confiscate something from him, and take your money, from there. What can you do, right? You're allowed to do that. This is the halakha, Why is that? Because sometimes, this guy's trying to hide from you, he's trying to play games with you. So he doesn't want to, he doesn't want to pay you. He's being a rasha, Like it says in Tehillim, right? Love rasha velo yishalem, right? Person like this, he's rasha. Why? Because he borrows money, he doesn't want to pay. His debts, rasha. When is he rasha? When he has money, he doesn't want to pay. But if he doesn't have any money, he's not a rasha. That's already something else. You know what I mean? So here, maybe he has something, in his house, something that you see. He doesn't really need that so much. It's not critical for him. You know what I mean? So what does that mean? It's not like, let me ask you a question regarding this, right? Good rhetorical question. Let's say a person owes a lot of money to somebody, right? Are you allowed to confiscate his house and sell his house? Tell him, listen, you got a house in Long Island, huh? Okay, sell it, it's worth $500,000. Sell the house and pay me like that. Are you allowed to?
Yeah.
Can you force somebody to sell his house?
You could, but
This is the question. Avi, I think you've talked enough for you tonight. I think now you should take a rest. God bless you. So what's the halakha, Bemet? We said 3 times, right? Only 3 times. I think you did about 30 times already. Okay. So what's the halakha, Bemet, in a case like this? Are you allowed to? Is a person allowed to take his money back? So the answer is yes, right? We said you're allowed to take your money back. But when he doesn't have it. So, but can you tell him to sell his house? Listen, sell your house. Buy a cheaper house. Buy an apartment. Regal Park. Somewhere. In Brooklyn. Bushwick. Go to. Buy something cheaper. Get something cheaper. Why do you need such a fancy house for? Or live on rent. Live on rent for a while. What's the problem? Sell your house. Pay me my money, and live on rent. What do I care? What's in my business? You owe me money. So let's square off with me. Let's get it done. So the answer is, the halakha says, Shulchan Aruch, Talmud, that you're not allowed to tell a person like that, to give up his house because he needs that to live. What is he going to do? Live in the street? Okay, you can tell him, okay, go live on rent. That's not the same thing, A person wants to have his own home. So what does that mean? Every person is allowed to have one home to be his house, So you can't confiscate that from him according to halakha. There's no way to do that. So what do we do in a case like that? What we do is, we wait. What can we do, right? Let's wait until he gets some money. Maybe he'll get an inheritance, from some rich uncle, somewhere. Something like that, right? And then we'll square off with the guy. What can we do? Until then, we gotta wait. Also, when it comes to his, can you take, like, let's say the kelim, the utensils that he uses, to work? No, because he needs that for parnasah. You can't take that. You can't confiscate that. So things like this, which are crucial to his life, his house, his kelim that he uses to work with them. How can you take those things? You can't. This is too much. Right? He's not going to be able to get parnasah. So we don't go that far, right? When it comes to debts. So this case applies to every case. Let me tell you another case, by the way, which is also very similar. It happens a lot, by the way, in our times. It's a big discussion. The question is like this, right? That when a person divorces his wife, okay, so he's got a ketuba to pay, right? He's got to pay the ketuba in most cases. There are some cases, by the way, that the ketuba, you don't pay the ketuba.
How much money is ketubah?
What cases are we talking about? That's a big machloket, by the way. How much money is the ketubah? Big machloket. I don't want to get into that right now because it's a whole discussion. B'ezrat Hashem, one day we'll talk about that. But, the question is like this. That let's say a person gets divorced. He doesn't have money to pay the ketubah. He doesn't have any cash. So what do you do in a case like that, right? The wife is coming and saying, "Oh, where's my money? You divorced me. Now pay my ketubah." When is the case where the wife doesn't get a ketubah? If she did erva, right? If she cheated on him, things like this, she went and she cheated on him, went with another man, or something like that, right? All kinds of things like this, behaving improperly, no tzniut, no loyalty to her husband, things like this. She doesn't get ketubah in cases like that. What ketubah do you want? What, you want a ketubah for being a street girl? What? Who told you to get ketubah? So the case like that, you don't get ketubah. Also, there's another case, which is similar to that, which is, for instance, let's say a woman, all of a sudden she comes, to her husband, and says, I want to get divorced, I don't like you anymore, I just don't like you. Why not? I don't know, you're not normal, you're this, and all kinds of things, like this. She wants to get divorced, so she goes, and takes him to the bed din, She summons him to the bed din, and she says, listen, I don't like this guy anymore, I want to divorce him. So now the question is like this, right? Does the husband have an obligation to divorce her in a case like that? He didn't do nothing wrong. He's just a normal husband, he's not perfect, nobody's perfect, But he doesn't, he doesn't beat her up, he doesn't, abuse her, things like this, He's not doing things like this. So does he have an obligation to give her a get? The answer is no. So the bed din cannot force him to give a get. They can maybe recommend it, the bed din. What does that mean to recommend? It means I can't force you, but you know what? I see that your marriage is not working. So better to finish it off. What's the point of staying with a wife who doesn't want you? What's the point of it? She hates you. One day, she may, do some tricks on you, call the police, and put you in jail. Make some fake charges on you, that you raped her. God knows, because she doesn't like you. So what's the point of staying with a woman like that? Better to divorce her. The bed din cannot force you, but they can recommend to you, and say, listen, what's the point of staying with a woman like that? But in a case like this, the husband doesn't really have to divorce her, but if he wants to divorce her, she can't really claim her ketubah because she's asking him to divorce her for not really any valid reason. You understand? So why does she deserve a ketubah for that, right? So what do you want a ketubah for? What, because you don't like me all of a sudden, 2 years ago you liked me, now you don't like me anymore? Right? So you want a ketubah for what? This is not what ketubah is for. By the way, the question is like this, since we're talking about ketubah, what is the purpose of the ketubah, by the way? Why do we write in the ketubah amount of money like this, As we said, it's a machloket, right? According to, there's two opinions about that. According to one opinion, I'm just telling you rough numbers, okay? It's like $20,000 a year, like 1 year's income, like something like that. There's another opinion which is says it's like under 2,000 even, less than $2,000. Not really a lot. It's not so much money. Maran Ovadia Hashem, he has a tshuva. He writes that the halacha is like the lower amount, So the truth is, the bare bones halacha, even though the Ashkenazim, some of the bedin don't do like that, they take bigger amounts. But according to bare bones halacha, the ketubah is not even $2,000.
It's 200 zuz, no?
Yeah, right, 200 zuz. But the question is, how do you, translate that? Right? How do you convert it? That's the question. To today's money. This is the machloket. You know what I mean? So anyway, right, what I'm trying to say is, right, that in a case like this, the husband will not get ketubah. For what to give ketubah? What's the point of it, right? So to give ketubah to a woman like this, she doesn't like you all of a sudden, So what they do is, in a case like that, they're gonna make a deal, She's gonna say to him, listen, okay, I'll be mevater on the ketubah. I don't want just give me a get and let me out of here, Let me go home to my parents, whatever it is, right? That's what she's gonna say, right? In a case like that. So as I wanted to tell you, right, what is the purpose of the ketubah? Why do the rabbis say that a person who wants to divorce his wife has to give her money? Why do you have to give your wife money to divorce her?
To live, to drink, eat.
If you learn the Gemara, right, Masechet Ketubot, you know, right, from what it says over there. What do you say? You have something there? Avi?
They said you have to give her mezonot. You have to give her mezonot.
Right, but why do you have to give her a ketubah when you're divorcing her? This is the question. What's the reason why the rabbis made this enactment? By the way, is the ketubah from the rabbis or from the Torah? Machloket also, but according to halacha, ketubah is rabbinical. It's not from the Torah. Right? The rabbis made the ketubah. So the question is, why the rabbis make ketubah to pay her money to divorce her? Why pay her money for what? What, to give her a final dowry, goodbye gift, goodbye,
You pay her money.
Das vidanya.
You pay her money so maybe you don't want to divorce her because of the money you have to give her.
Oh, exactly. That's exactly the point, right? The point is like this: that the rabbis, what they wanted is that they wanted a person should not be able to divorce his wife so easily. Sometimes what happens is that they get into a fight. Something ba 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 ba. Now he's angry at her, she's angry at him. So because of the anger, he wants to go to the sofer. Okay, write again for my wife. I want to get rid of this lady. She's crazy. So because of the anger that he has right now, wants to get rid of her right away. Crazy, this is no good. If you do like this, live your life like this, you're going to be married about 10 times in your life, maybe 15 times. Every time you have some kind of a fight with your wife, give her a get and get rid of her. So therefore the rabbi said, you know what? Slow down, my friend, slow down. What are you doing so quickly? Divorcing your wife. So you know what? If you don't want to slow down, we'll make you pay for that. So you're going to feel it in your pocket. All of a sudden now, she's not such a bad girl, she's not that bad, I can deal with her. Exactly. Right? So that's the kesef onei alakol, right? So therefore, right, this is the thing. They want to slow you down. This is the reason why they made you pay her for this, But when it comes to the situation like this, where the wife is no good, she's the prutza, she doesn't dress modestly, she goes swimming with the men, or she goes with other men, all kinds of things like this. Adarabah, it's a mitzvah to get rid of her, you know what I mean? So why would you want to keep her, you know what I mean? So then you're patur from the ketubah. The whole reason of the ketubah is to keep her. Here, the rabbis want you to get rid of her. That's something else, That's the whole point, So why would they want to make you give her ketubah? Get rid of her as fast as possible. That's what you have to do, That's what it says, right, in the Mishle, right? Regarding this, what does it say? Garesh letz tetzeh madon. What does that mean? Right? If you have a wife who's a letz, you know what the letz is, right? Bad girl, naughty girl. You have a naughty wife, she does naughty things. Garesh, get rid of her. And then tetzeh madon, the fight is going to be over, right? You're always fighting with her because she's not a good girl, she's a bad girl. Garesh letz. So in a case like that, when she's a bad girl, she's prutza, she's zona, excuse my expression, right? All kinds of things like this. It's a mitzvah to get rid of her any minute, The earlier the better. So therefore, the rabbis are not asking you to give a ketubah. Just other right? Get rid of her. We'll end with this, right? It's also said in Shulchan Aruch, by the way. Look how strongly the rabbis looked at this issue, regarding a woman like this. They said that if a woman was divorced by some man because of this issue, right, of erva, things like this, or she was prutza, not tznuah, she doesn't dress properly, she doesn't behave properly, going with men, swimming with men, dancing with men, all kinds of things like this, So they say that if one husband divorced her, right, and you're now looking at her and saying, oh, we got divorced, huh? Maybe I should take her, she's a nice looking lady. Looks great, she's very modern, fashionable. She looks great. Look at that, the way she has her hair, the way she dresses. Right? It's like Gan Eden, the way she looks, this lady. So the rabbis told you, what they told you? Don't look at the outside. Don't look at the, right? Al tistakel b'kankan ela ma sheyesh bo. Right? That's like it says in Pirkei Avot. Don't look at the outside. Look at the inside. So what does that mean? It says in the Shulchan Aruch that a woman who got divorced because of tzut, if you're a smart guy, don't marry that woman. It's not proper to marry her. Unless you know for sure that she did teshuvah. That's, by the way, hard to know that. Not so easy to know that. Don't think, because she tells you, now I'm more religious, she told you some stories like this. Don't believe what she says. If she got divorced because of pitzut, you need to have like witnesses, like that say, about her, that she's kosher now. She did teshuvah. Teshuvah is that window. Once a person loses cheskat kashrut, he's not assumed to be kosher anymore. You need now a strong proof, strong testimony, 2 witnesses to say, oh yeah, this girl, now she dresses b'tzniut, she doesn't swim with the men, she doesn't dance with the men, she doesn't go to discotheques, parties, all kinds of things like this. She doesn't do drugs anymore. She said she's drug free. No more drugs, no more cocaine, no more this, nothing. She's good. Okay, if you have 2 witnesses that say that, Can't believe, But otherwise, right, we assume that she's still a bad girl, because that's the way she was before. What makes you think she changed? Because she looks nice, she winks her eyes at you, something like this, makes herself charming. That's not what's going to help you. ברוך ה' לעולם אמן אמן. רבי חנן מה שאומר זה הקדוש ברוך הוא לעשות ישראל. לפיכך אשר בא להם תורה מסור שמונה חפש, למען צדקו יגדיר תורה וידיר.
אמן, אמן. אמן, יש שלום.
Amen.